Good Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon.
Easy for you to say.
Yes. I'm meteorologist Jacob Wyckoff, joined by our executive weather producer, Terry Ellis. And Terry, it is Friday before we enter into really the holiday season.
Yeah.
Winter, ringing that in tomorrow morning officially. Astronomical winter arriving at 4:20 tomorrow morning. But we have some winter conditions outside right now.
Yeah, we have some. It's either a case of great timing or terrible timing.
Yeah.
It's kind of a combination of the both. If you're out and about on the roads, you just came in. I mean, they're not terrible yet, but a lot of the roads are becoming white. I think a lot of folks are going to be out tonight. Maybe not commuting, but just grocery store, Christmas shopping, Christmas parties.
It doesn't take a lot. That first inch, right?
It's almost the worst.
It's the worst because people don't change their habits. We already have, as of right now, we're recording this at 3 o'clock Friday afternoon. The Mass Pike shut down at exit 90 because of a multi-tractor trailer accident. So roads are becoming pretty bad. So several inches through eastern Massachusetts. The treacherous travel is going to be around for this afternoon and evening. Finally, kind of wrapping up. I think crews, this isn't going to come down so hard that they're not going to be able to get in front of it. But with the temperatures tumbling, anything that isn't cleared is definitely going to freeze in the coming day or two.
And we'll show, we have a great map in a few minutes that will show you even the areas that are currently above freezing in southeastern Mass where there's a mix or some rain. Everything's going to, basically ice over down there as well. So multiple different hazards. The National Weather Service has a winter weather advisory up for basically the entire, all of eastern Mass except for the islands through 4 a.m. tomorrow. And it's kind of an interesting storm because a lot of times with snowstorms in New England, especially early in the season, and we are fairly early, you think of most of the snow being north and west of town, Worcester County.
Higher elevations.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Southern New Hampshire, even up near 495. This one is really a Eastern Mass special. It's almost, tailor-made just for sort of the inside 495, 128, 95 area.
Absolutely. So that winter weather advisory covers from Essex County all the way down to Cape Cod. Also included in that is Rhode Island, but stretching out into parts of southern Worcester County too. The reason for that, this is the first half of this storm is sort of a bonus snow in the sense that this is ocean effect snow. This isn't part of the bigger storm that maybe may impact more people. Boston, you had some snow as early as like 9, 10 in the morning.
This morning, yeah, as I was coming in even, it was snowing pretty good between 8 and 9. That was just, again, a band off the ocean.
Yep.
You can see now that whole big chunk, the actual storm is moving in now.
Yeah, it's starting to move in, fill in.
With the ocean effect. And really from now through about maybe 6, 7 hours from now is when the meat of the accumulation happens, the meat of the storm happens, and the worst of the roads.
Absolutely.
So you can see like central Mass, so out towards Worcester County, there's barely anything going on. There's a little bit of snow out west of Gardner, but like Worcester's on the fringe, Lowell's on the fringe. It's really inside 495 where all the action's taking place. And again, still raining now down towards, say, Plymouth and the Cape, but that will change, and we'll show you that in a bit.
So what we're looking at right now is a composite radar. So what you see is the precipitation type. The deeper shades of that blue-purple color there, that's going to be the heavier snow that we're watching. And you can kind of see that from Boston to, let's say, like Milford, Holliston area. It seems to be like a nice band right through there, even up towards the North Shore through Lynn and Peabody, Revere, potentially getting in on some of that deeper bands. Also kind of hidden by the lower banner there, but Brockton, that's going to be where the changeover is. Sometimes when you see that changeover, that could be associated with some pretty heavy snow bands too.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is, and we just saw a picture out of Milford actually, and it doesn't look like it may be a half inch, a coating to a half inch or so down there. So even though it looks like there's a major band going through, it's really tough middle of the day to really accumulate in any real sense. Boston at last check as of 1 o'clock had, I think, half an inch.
Half inch at the airport,
And Boston's been snowing off and on pretty well since this morning. So it's just really hard to accumulate for now. But I think once it gets dark, another two hours or so, that's really when, the rubber hits the road, so to speak, between, say, 4 and 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. So we'll definitely be watching to see where the banding, if it does set up, where it sets up, and that will be the area where we, could see the maximum jackpot accumulation.
So, Terry, you mentioned a little earlier that this is the map that we're looking at when it comes to that those crashing temperatures. Right now, basically north of Route 44 is where we're seeing the accumulations, but as we go later into the evening, we start to get some of that cooler air spilling into parts of the North Shore and eventually the Upper Cape, and perhaps even the Mid and Outer Cape, depending on how sharply we can get some of that cold in there. It's coming right off the ocean, so it still has slightly milder influence to it.
Yep.
But if we can get some evaporative cooling if it snows hard enough, it kind of creates its own atmosphere, its own cooling effect. And so we could get some accumulations at 35 degrees there. That would be the Plymouth County area would be an area that we have to watch closest for potentially kind of a jackpot plus area, I would say.
Yeah, it's just really hard to accumulate it with, if surface temperatures really are 33, 34, 35, it would be that very heavy wet snow. It doesn't accumulate all that readily. But the other thing to point out here is just the back edge just hugging eastern Mass. It's not going to expand tonight. If anything, it's going to sort of shrink and eventually just basically hover over eastern Mass, for the rest of the evening. And now you'll see, the later in the evening we go, it's below freezing everywhere by tomorrow morning. So even if you're down in the Cape or you're somewhere in southeastern Mass and you didn't get a ton of snow, it was rain to snow, things will ice up. Anything that's untreated will definitely ice up tomorrow morning.
This is our latest forecast. Terry and I were going back and forth for the last hour or so.
Or the last 3 days.
Yeah, that is true, yeah. So this is our latest thinking. With the bonus snow that we got this morning, early afternoon, I do think that there is a possibility that we see some totals 3+ as you go Metro West, really from, let's say, like Waltham, just north of town, all the way down into parts. All right, so we zoomed in there. So like from Woburn to Natick to Hopkinton, Milford, Holliston, Plainville, those are the areas that we could see the 3+ kind of total. As you get a little bit closer to the coastline, 1 to 3 inches. And as Terry mentioned early on, this is a reverse of what we see. Those higher elevations into Worcester County, Northwest Middlesex County, largely missing out on this storm. Yeah,
I mean, basically west of 495, which is typically the jackpot area, is where they're coating to an inch, if they're lucky. Now, the big question is that band, we've kind of tried to outline where the heaviest snows are, where the heaviest bands will set up. We may be shifting that. I mean, even by 5 o'clock tonight when you're on, that we may need to shift. We need to shift it a little east. Well, obviously, it's just kind of like nowcasting. We're watching the radar, we're watching models come in and watching the trends. So that 3 to 6 inch area could really end up being shifted, a little bit either way. But
and this is where you also come in as a viewer, that if you are someone that is a weather weenie like ourselves, go ahead and throw a ruler in the ground and measure something for us and let us know. Take some pictures, send us on in, because you could help us build a forecast. If we start getting a few reports from the South Shore that say, all right, we're already hitting those 3-inch totals, all right, maybe we do have to bump things up or shift the map a little.
In fact, we were just looking at, the totals have been rather sparse, and I think that's because there aren't a lot of big totals yet, but it would be very helpful before 5 o'clock. Send us an email, weather@cbsboston.com, or actually I think it's weather@wbztv.com. Let us know what you have, send us in a picture, because that's really, in these types of situations, like the ground truth is really, really important. So this is a graphic that every once in a while we'll pull it out when we have the certainty for a forecast isn't what we like it to be.
Sure.
So typically the day before, the day of, we feel pretty good. We hone in on a forecast, and that's what we did. We honed in on a 1 to 3 inch forecast, but we've wanted to make folks aware that, behind the scenes in what we're talking about, there are some models, there are some possibilities where some areas, like we just highlighted, could get 3 inches or more, perhaps even up to 4, 5, 6 inches isolated spots. So again, that's not our forecast for Eastern Mass. Within some of that banding, it may happen. But just to kind of give you the idea of what we're thinking for upper limit here.
And it's kind of safe at this point to say within 495, you're probably going to get an inch of snow, depending on where you are, especially if you're sort of near the Mass Pike, south and east as you go along 495 to the north of Boston too. And within that sort of time frame, that's where we would likely see at least an inch, I think. That upper bound, 6 inches, that's going to be hard to come by, but there are, as you said, some models out there. And Boston, we've already had a ½ inch of snow as of 1 p.m., and it's, in some cases, kind of picked up a little bit. So it's probably, it's likely, I struggle to say that, but we may break the streak that we currently have going right now in 5th place for the longest streak without 1 inch of snow for Boston. The last time we had an inch or more was January 16th, which, I mean,
almost a year ago.
Almost a year ago, 2 days before Eric and myself's birthday.
Oh,
Not that anyone is, jot that on your calendar or something. We share a birthday in the weather office.
Yes.
But I think that this streak is coming to an end?
I would, well, I was going to say I'm not a gambling man.
You are.
Sometimes. I think it's safe to put your money down on today ending this streak. Again, with already half an inch at 1 p.m., we may already be close to there. The last measurement we got was a couple hours ago. So I think Boston will certainly end up in the 1 to 3 zone and therefore breaking the 5th longest streak on record without an inch of snow.
Absolutely.
And that's a long, I mean, again, just look at some of those years. I mean, 386 back in 37. You know, going almost a year without a storm with an inch of snow is very unusual in Boston. So
yeah, keep in mind, like last winter, we only had 9 inches total.
Right.
We're going to have those crashing temperatures. Seth, I heard you talk to me. I couldn't hear what you said, though, so just repeat yourself. But we do have some crashing temperatures in the coming days. Not only do we get this shot of snow for this evening, but then beyond this, temperatures are well below average. In fact, on Sunday, we're talking struggling to get out of the teens in some places.
Yeah, so I guess the long and short of that is whatever you get for accumulation tonight is probably going to stick around for a little bit. So highs tomorrow, again, upper 20s, low 30s in southeastern Mass. And then I think we have the lows for Sunday morning. Look at these. These are not wind chills. These are actual forecast low temperatures Sunday morning. Coldest air mass yet.
Yeah.
Between 5 and 10 degrees in a lot of the area.
I think what's impressive about this, too, is you know, even though we say meteorologically speaking, winter starts December 1st, when we look at the entirety of last winter for us, our coldest temperature was 14 degrees in Boston.
Yeah, we never really got...
We never got a shot of cold. So this already, as we kind of start out the winter, we're already getting a pretty impressive shot of cold.
Is this a hint of things to come? Or should we take this as a hint to say this winter is going to be a little bit different than the last couple?
I think it already is,
I think it is.
Starting out a little different.
And you'll see the forecast highs on Sunday, not much better. This is what we like to call ineffective sunshine.
Yeah.
You know, there will be some sunshine on Sunday, but really not doing much. So this is why we think anything that accumulates tonight ain't going nowhere, at least through Monday. Monday is not much different from Sunday. And hence, perhaps, betters our chance of a white Christmas, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah, so before we hop into more of the forecast, I do want to get to some video that was sent to us. This is some snow video that was sent to us along, let's see here. This looks like the Pike going perhaps westbound. That looks like Newton. Perhaps. And you can see that this is like really nasty. And then when you get the convoys going of the snow plows, the salt trucks throwing out the salt, it does definitely slow things down. So we're going to be dealing with that for this evening commute. I mentioned it at the top that we have that Mass Pike accident out by exit 90. It is shut down because of a multi-tractor trailer accident. So this is what we're in store for. I don't know what AAA is saying as far as how busy it is, but I do think that Friday evening before we head into it's going to be busy out there.
Everybody's got something on their minds to do. If you don't have to do it tonight, again, if you have one more gift to buy, and you can wait till tomorrow or Sunday. I mean, why risk it? Why go out? The roads are only getting worse for the next few hours, and hence the traffic as well. So I know if it were me, I might just hold off a bit. If you got to go out, just make sure you leave extra time.
He still has to buy me my gift, so just remember.
Oh, I bought your gift.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, of course.
We'll see.
Christmas week, let's jump ahead here.
Sure.
Actually looking pretty darn nice. That big H over us on Monday. It'll definitely be cold on Monday, but here we have perhaps a little bit of mood snow coming in during the day on Christmas Eve.
Doesn't look like a big storm, which is good. I think that we can all appreciate a good snow globe effect. Shake that snow globe up, let the big flurries fly. This isn't going to pose that much of a threat. It is going to add a little sugar coating on top of what we have falling right now. And so I think the storm should be out of here by the time we start out Christmas. Christmas evening, Christmas Eve night, if you're heading to midnight mass or you have those plans. I know that my family used to do the 7 fishes. If you're doing that, there might be a couple of tricky spots, but overall, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
Agreed.
So this is what we're seeing for Santa's ride on Christmas Eve. We could see a couple of flurries as we head towards sunset. Better chance of flurries maybe after dark, especially accumulating. Like we said, with this storm, it's going to take some serious cold to get it to accumulate, and it's just not around for Tuesday. And then by midnight, we're just kind of cold.
Yeah, and this coming storm, at least for now, doesn't appear to have anywhere near the sort of strength that this thing that's going on now is developing offshore. It's going to develop into a very potent storm as it goes up to Nova Scotia.
Yep.
The Tuesday storm is really just a minor little clipper, very like moisture starved. So again, I don't see anything more than maybe some additional coatings.
Yeah.
And a little bit of mood snow Saturday night, or excuse me, Tuesday night if you're going out. And oh wow, this has music with it. This is the first time we've showed this graphic.
I'll have to remember this when I share this.
Yikes. That was fun. So the forecast for Christmas Day looks cold. Again, chance of a sprinkle or flurry, but it's really just mostly cloudy and quiet. I don't think anyone would mind that on Christmas Day. Nothing major going on. Again, this is 5 days out, so things could change.
We've had some serious warmth on Christmases the past couple of years. I think that this is a fairly average, if not just a little bit below average Christmas. So, you know, if the kids have those new bikes and stuff like that, it might be a little cold for them. That's not going to stop them, that's for sure. But it might be a little bit cold for them, so just bundle them up as they head out to try out those new awesome toys. So we talked about this, white Christmas chances. Terry and I were talking about this a little earlier about what are our chances to see a white Christmas. Terry, this is a complete opposite of what we normally look at.
So this is very interesting. If you've been watching BZ all week, so Eric Fisher's been on each night and he's been updating. There are numbers coming up, and I'm holding.
This is a teaser.
So Eric's been each night kind of taking the Boston, like a suburb, and a kind of further out suburb, and giving a percentage chance of a white Christmas. And just so you all know, an official white Christmas is 1 inch on the snow, 1 inch of snow on the ground, 7 a.m. Christmas morning. That's a National Weather Service definition. Who knows where they came up with that? But 7 a.m. Christmas morning, you stick the ruler in the ground. If it's an inch or more, you've got yourself a white Christmas.
Check the box, white Christmas.
So all week, we've been saying Boston is, 10, 20%,
Which is historical. That's about where we lie normally.
Well,
in a normal year.
So now with the forecast being a little juicier today, and get us off the screen for a minute so everyone can see this, we've upped Boston to 60%, and then we talked about should it even be higher.
Right.
Because we feel like at least a couple inches of snow are coming tonight. And with that cold coming, it's going to be hard to really get rid of it before next Wednesday. Yeah,
the question is, how much do we get in the next 6, 7, 8 hours, and will it stick around for the next 4 to 5 days? That is the question. Those are the two questions that we're answering. And I think, like Terry said, for Boston, it does stick around. I think that we have a better than 50-50 shot of having that white Christmas. But the farther west you go, which is, again, the opposite of what we normally say. The higher elevations, you're going to hold on to that snow. We had that really, really warm stretch that melted all the snow, unless you're in the highest elevations at ski resorts or something like that. Fitchburg, on the other hand, only about 0.25%, only about 25%.
And that may be too high. I mean, they are in the coating to an inch forecast for tonight. There's really not much going on out that way. I doubt they'll get an inch. So really, their only chance of getting an inch would be from that Christmas Eve storm.
Right.
And you know what? It's within the realm of possibility. It doesn't look like it's anything that would produce much more than a coating to an inch, but that's why. So Fitchburg's chances are going down. Boston chances are going up after today's storm.
And we had talked about like Taunton. That is a line of demarcation, like that Route 44, Norfolk County, Plymouth County area. If you can get a bit of an overachiever as far as our forecast goes with this storm, then your chances obviously go up as well.
Right, it really depends on what we get tonight, because most of it is going to stick around for several days with that cold coming. So this is our last graphic for this hit. We're going to go back in and hit the charts again. Literally, we're analyzing radar and models over the next 2 hours, and Jacob will be on at 5 and 6 with an update. We don't think there's going to be any major change in the next 2 hours, but certainly we'll be tweaking things as we go along.
It really depends on what you guys are seeing at home, too. So we'll encourage you to send us emails, find us on social media, whatever that means. Get us those reports, because you're going to help us tweak this forecast as we go along throughout this evening.
And please take it easy on the road. If you have to go out tonight, trust us. Even if it's just the roads just look a little whitened, that can sometimes be the worst part of the storm, that first initial inch. So take it easy, and if you don't have to go out, stay.
Definitely, this was fun. Hopefully you have a very merry Friday, and the roads aren't too bad for you. Please be safe, and check us out. It's coming up tonight at 5 for the latest forecast.